Most beginners' telescopes fail in exactly the same place, but after testing this one, Spectrum Optics may have solved the problem that ruins nearly every telescope in the entry-level price range. This is a 70mm Maksutov Cassegrain telescope from Spectrum Optical Instruments. I picked it up from Astronomics, which is a telescope retailer that's been around for a long time out of Oklahoma. At the time of my purchase, this was less than $100 on sale, and I considered that a really good value, so I bought it with my own money and wanted to put it to the test. This video is not sponsored by Astronomics or Spectrum Instruments. Special thanks to my patrons on Patreon and my channel members who make these kind of videos possible. Maksutov Cassegrain is a very beginner-friendly telescope because they are generally maintenance-free, they're small and compact, and offer clean, crisp views. They especially excel at planetary and lunar views, as they generally have a very long focal length that gives them a narrower field of view, but they really excel at pulling detail out of planetary and lunar images. But you certainly can use them for deep sky objects as well. What really caught my attention about this telescope, though, is its alt-azimuth mount, which, if you've bought a beginner's level telescope before, you'll know that very often the weak point is the mount. They can be very wobbly and hard to control and point, and this one seems to be rock solid. It moves up and down and left and right. You can release it by turning these two knobs here, and it moves very smoothly. It's really a nice motion, and if you want to go ahead and use the slow motion controls, you just lightly tighten those down, and now with these knobs you can gently control your telescope and point it at whatever object that you're looking at and easily track it through the sky. The legs are made of aluminum, and I've got the legs extended all the way, it's very stable. It's very clear that the designers of this telescope and this overall package knew what they were doing, because they were smart enough to pair this nice light telescope with this oversized mount for a telescope of this size, and giving it slow motion controls that are easy to use is of utmost importance. This telescope also comes with a slew of accessories, 3 eyepieces, including this 20mm, a 10mm, and this one with this band on it that says it's a 62-degree 4mm eyepiece, which should get us very high magnification. It also comes with this 2x Barlow that will essentially double the power of any of these eyepieces that we have. This also came with this red dot finder, which, if you watch my video on that Celestron Nexstar 8 SE telescope that I just demoed, that telescope is much more expensive than this, and this red dot finder beats the pants off of that. Number one, it works. Number two, the dot is nice and bright, and number three, it was very easy to adjust. Those ones that came with the Celestron, I've always had a hard time getting them to adjust evenly. This one, these knobs, it is very smooth and it has held adjustment really well. It also came with this 1.25 inch diagonal, which I looked inside and it is a prism diagonal. At least during daylight viewing, it has presented nice, clear views. Finally, the focus knob is right here, and it's out of aluminum, and the motion on this is buttery smooth. Really, you could do it with just one finger without introducing too much wobble here. Really cool option on this. This also came with this device and an automated Bluetooth clicker that you can use for your phone, and you're supposed to be able to clip this onto the eyepiece and use that to take pictures with your cell phone. So we'll give this a try too and see if it works well. One nice feature of this is that the mounting dovetail that it has this is called a Vixen style dovetail, and you'll find it on almost any telescope in the market, and so you can use this mount with a variety of other telescopes. It's very clear that the manufacturers of this paid very close attention to detail. One thing that I think is worth pointing out is here on this mount, they actually put a plastic stopper on the end of this so that it doesn't dig into the dovetails on the telescope, which I have some very expensive mounts, and they don't even offer that feature. I was really surprised to see that on a telescope at this price point. And to top it all off, this whole setup weighs next to nothing. I can easily pick it up with one arm. It's really the definition of grab and go. I'm going to go ahead and try and take some daytime pictures with this one eyepiece here, and we'll see how those come out. The instructions weren't all that clear on how to get this on here, but after a few minutes I realized if you remove the rubber eye cup, then you can get this to lock onto the eyepiece like that, and then you attach your phone like so. You could see very nice and crisp and clear the top of the hardware on that telephone pole. And if I switch this over to video mode, besides the wobble of me touching it, it settles down very quickly, and you could see how smooth the slow motion controls are. I think doing this in the daytime really highlights how nice and smooth these motion controls are. If I set my phone at 2x zoom, that it gets rid of that field stop for the eyepiece, and you can very clearly here see these pine cones developing on this tree. So it's been a few weeks since I unboxed this. I'm going to finally get a shot at the moon here. We've been shut out because of the Canadian wildfires blowing smoke out this way. We haven't seen much, and then it's been poor moon phases. And here, these views with this 20mm are actually quite nice. Seen some great details on the craters, much better than the 60mm refractor that I started out with 20 years ago. You could see the terminator quite clearly, and there are some craters with high peaks in the middle that are sticking out quite bright, and the image is really pleasing. So let's go ahead and we're going to try this 10mm eyepiece that came with it. The image with this 10mm is quite good. The focus on this is super smooth and very precise. Let's go ahead and try 4mm 62-degree eyepiece. Oh wow, so that is a ton of magnification, and the image is quite dim. That eyepiece has noticeably bigger apparent field of view, but the exit pupil seems quite small in this. I'm seeing a lot of my eyelashes in it. Again, it's really showing a lot of detail on these craters, but it's quite faint. I have a 20mm Teleview Plossel here, so considerably higher quality eyepiece. Let's see how that compares. Oh wow, okay, so this is now really showing off the capabilities of this telescope. Those eyepieces that it came with are very much a bottleneck for this. This telescope with these Teleview Plossels though is quite impressive. Really, this is a really nice view. So I brought an 11mm Plossel out also. The upgraded eyepieces are making a huge difference in this. But I'm out here and I very quickly was able to set up with the adapter that this came with. I'm getting some really nice images from this. You know, I was mentioning before that the image seemed a little bit faint, but looking up, we're still dealing with this wildfire smoke. And so that's certainly impacting the view that we're getting. It's giving it kind of a brownish tinge. So I got it set up with the Teleview 20mm Plossel and the Move Shoot Move adapter. And number one, I'll say the adapter that came with this was much quicker to line up. It just had a little screw, a knob on the back, and you could just slide it around. And actually using the 3 motion controls, while it was very precise with this, took a much longer time to get it dialed in. I think you'll be able to see in the image that the Teleview Plossel is much crisper view. But that's not to say that the eyepieces that came with it were not acceptable. The last thing I'll do is I'll set this up for video, and I'll record a video of me tracking this. Here it is at 2x magnification. That's a really nice view, and you could see this is at, you know, I've magnified this with the digitally with the camera, and when you let go, it's very fast, settles down very quickly, probably 2 seconds or so. And that's with this huge honking camera attached to the back of it. So what are my final thoughts on this Spectrum Optics 70mm Maksutov and alt-azimuth mount? The telescope is very sturdy and the images were crystal clear. Where this package really shines is this mount is easy to slew around just by opening and closing these clutches, and the slow motion controls are outstanding. The eyepieces are probably the weakest link in this. They perform adequately, but you can go ahead and upgrade them and get much cleaner, crisper views. One of the nice features is that the eyepieces that it came with lock into this phone holder device, and they make it nice and stable. It was very easy to take some rudimentary pictures with this device. Admittingly, I don't do much lunar observing. However, now that I have this, I could literally just pick it up with one hand and take it outside. I have a feeling I'll be looking at the moon a whole lot more. Now granted, I've only been able to observe the moon with this. There are no planets visible right now at a reasonable time. I was really impressed with the views on this on the moon. I feel that they would definitely translate over into planetary views. If you're on the market for a beginner's telescope, I'd rush out and get this one before the price goes up, because at $100, it's a steal. Check out the next video right here, and remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Tell me in the comments what your beginner's telescope was and if it was as solid as this. This is Trevor from Night Sky Voyager, wishing you clear skies.